Cam from NZXT. Monitor your games while playing. To learn more, check out the description. Hey everyone, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is time for Badger's picks for the week of July 19th. Let's see who's free this week and which 4 champions I'm going to recommend. Free this week, we're going to be seeing Azir, Fiddlesticks, Jax, Karma, LeBlanc, Lucian, Misfortune, Nocturne, Renekton, and Tom Kench. And for my first champion recommendation, I'm going to give that one over to Nocturne. I'm a big fan of Nocturne. Played him again recently for what felt like the first time in quite a while, which was mildly unfortunate because as I was playing him, I really remembered how much I liked playing him. So that's just one reason why I'm picking him. Also, I think he's a little more impactful than a lot of people give him credit. I feel like he's also been in this position, and like I've said that same thing many times before. He's a good champion to play. He's a strong jungler. He has very impactful ganks, as you know, with the darkness that he brings. Obviously, it can always put everybody on edge on the enemy team. You don't know where he's going to appear from. So that's one thing to kind of get into the enemy team's mind, to kind of trick them and where you're going to be ganking. And then once you're there, I think he sticks to people fairly well. He's got a solid fear that's really easy for your team to capitalize on most of the time. And just like, he's just a good champion. The other thing I like about him too is you can build basically 1 or 2 offensive items, then go straight tank, and still be one of those like, I'm way too tanky to really kill, yet I can still pretty much dive anybody and kill them. So I think he definitely can be utilized right now. Like, not the strongest, obviously, but he's good, and I think he's fun to play. So you should try him out this week if you don't own him and want to play him. As for my second recommendation, we are going to go ahead and throw that one over to Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks we did talk about as an OP pick a couple of patches ago. I think he's still incredibly strong, still has a great win rate, and because of this, you should be playing him. He's very strong. I know he's a little bit older, and he's probably not the most expensive to buy. Obviously, I don't actually know what any champions cost without looking it up online because I've owned all of them for many seasons now, but Fiddlesticks is definitely good still, and one thing I like about him is, just for an example, I was playing a game yesterday with some other YouTubers, and we had kind of dawdled a little bit, and no one had taken Dragon by 20 minutes. Fiddlesticks could have taken multiple dragons solo by 20 minutes. So he's somebody who can control objectives such as Dragon. We know that the dragons are pretty good now. So if you're looking for somebody who has some objective control, let alone tons of damage output as a jungler once you hit 6, Fiddlesticks can be a nightmare. Also, even before he hits 6, Fiddlesticks has incredibly good ganks in mid lane. If the mid laner's pushing, he can just walk in behind them and just fear them. And like, I don't want to guarantee it as a kill, but fear duration is pretty lengthy, and he does significant damage. So as long as your mid laner's paying attention and capitalizing on you ganking, you can pick up some pretty easy kills. So I recommend you play Fiddlesticks this week if you're looking for someone to play. As for my third champion recommendation for the week, I'm going to give that one over to somebody that's probably not that big of a surprise. It is Lucian. Lucian's still strong. He's still a good champion. Now, as for build paths for Lucian, you probably know about your standard ADC build where you go Essence Reaver, you pick up a Shiv, or the other one that gives you the range, the Rapid Fire Cannon. Maybe build that into an Infinity Edge, some kind of armor penetration. You have about 75% crit chance, and you have pretty good just armor shred and damage. It's a pretty solid build, and it works on just about any ADC. Not all, but just about any. Now, obviously, there is that generic build, and that at late game is the best build. It is. But early on, if you can snowball your lead, take an advantage, and build the Korean build, where it's Black Cleaver, you know, and all that fun jazz with a Yumu's, you can do very, very well. Lucian does well with this build because it gives him a lot of cooldown reduction. But I will say this one more time in case you are confused. As much as that's a strong build, it's a strong build when you get ahead and snowball because it's cheaper items that ramp him up faster. If you're falling behind and need to build towards the late game, then the crit build is better. And also, once you do get to late game, if you haven't won yet and you did go Korean style, you need to switch over and eventually phase out the Korean build for the crit build, because the crits will deal more damage later than the Korean style build. It's just how it works, in case you didn't know. I know I didn't really talk too much about Lucian and why I'm picking him, but he is strong. That's the reason I'm picking him, and he's good and incredibly fun. But those are the differences between the builds and why you would pick one over the other. Make sure you're doing it correctly if you are playing Lucian for free this week, or if you've just been playing Lucian in general. There you go. And for my final recommendation for the week, I'm going to throw that one over to Karma. Karma has seen plenty of play in the LCS. I think in North America, I don't know the stats after this week, but she's roughly got a 50% win rate in competitive with about a 100 game pick ratio. So she's been played a lot. Mostly in the support role. She has been played mid though too. In mid lane, she can be good, she can be annoying, and she's usually pretty hard to kill once she gets past about level 2. She just has enough survivability, poke, and sustain to keep her in lane, so it makes her good. If you play around it though pretty well, she doesn't do a ton to kill you if you're pretty smart at dodging basically her Q, because besides that, she doesn't really have much damage output. She shields herself and she tethers, and that does some damage, but it's not reliable to kill someone with just tether. So in mid lane, she's more utility focused to help the team and still deal damage. Don't get me wrong, she still does that. But in the support role, her damage is more impactful because she's not meant to be there just to dish out damage, and she does support her laner, her friendly, incredibly well. So she does a lot of work early on in lane and can usually be quite a lane bully to give your team the advantage. One reason you'd pick her is because maybe you have an ADC who's not technically supposed to win the lane, like a Vayne. Vayne's not supposed to win lane. She typically gives it up to have a better late game. But if she can be there to help Vayne live through the lane and harass down the enemy team, and basically keep it to be a safer lane, maybe get them to not poke at your Vayne so much or engage as much because they know there is an early damage threat and protecting threat with a Karma down there. Karma's very good because of this, so if you're looking for a support or even a mid laner, you might want to try her out this week. She's my last recommendation. Those are the champions that are free this week, all 10. Those are the 4 I'm recommending that you try out. Obviously, play any of the champions that you want to because they're free. We'll go over all of them real quick, the ones at least I didn't talk about, and give you my quick opinion. Azir's the first one. I think Azir is still quite strong, but only in the right and capable hands. He's a bit of a gamble if you've never played him, so you can try him, but he might be difficult. He can be good, but once again, positioning and scaling is the name of the game. Jax, obviously, right now is a pretty strong top laner. I actually really like Jax in the jungle. He's got good and impactful ganks too. Good champion, always has been. Also has seen mild buffs, which is nice. As for LeBlanc, LeBlanc's also good. I actually almost wanted to recommend her, but that's kind of a generic pick in the mid lane right now. She's kind of your standard. I just need to assassinate somebody and snowball into assassinating individuals. She's good. Try her out. Misfortune, also strong, way underutilized in my opinion. At least in low elo, she can basically take one ultimate and turn an entire team fight around. So I recommend playing her if you want to have somebody who's simplistic with an ultimate but can deal tons of damage with it. Renekton, a pretty good top laner. Been seeing a little bit more play out of him recently because he is kind of helpful for countering some of the champions that have been picked more recently in top, since we are seeing some of the tanks disappear. He has a strong beginning and mid game, but towards the end he can fall off a little bit despite them tweaking him. And Tom Kench. Not bad, obviously good at saving lives, but has seen a bit of the nerfs, and honestly I wouldn't really play him right now, but that's just me. But you can try him out too because he's free. But those are the champions. There's box around any of their portraits. That means you can click on it and it will take you to some sort of video for that champion, and you should watch it to your full enjoyment. But I wish all of you the very best of luck this week on the Fields of Justice.